If you're becoming increasingly more and more aware of your actions, of your habits, of your thoughts, and not only are you becoming aware of these things, but you can see exactly which world they belong to. Are they part of the old life or are they part of your new life? Right? And you can feel this intense separation between your two lives. If this is how you're feeling right now, you are going through a massive rebirth. A massive rebirth and expansion into the new, but really the more version of you. It's more of you. The old life that you are leaving behind is no longer resonant because it no longer fits into your identity. Because as you raise your frequency and you shed layers of your old life, you shed layers of the old limiting beliefs, of the old limiting thoughts, the old emotions, you begin to step into a newer, into a higher, into a more you version of you. And this can be incredibly painful and exciting at the same time, right? Because when we're going through this process, we have to choose to release the old. Anything that aligns us to the old path, we have to choose to release it, which can sometimes mean releasing old ways of coping, old ways of numbing. And so then we actually have to sit with what is arising within us. And that can be incredibly painful to look at because we're looking at a lot of challenging things like unworthiness, we're looking at shame, we're looking at guilt, we're looking at lack issues. We're looking at a lot that we used to in the old path choose to numb or choose to distract ourselves from. So as we step onto this new path, while it's exciting because you're becoming more of you and you're realizing that life is meant to be lived fun, life is meant to be easy, well, it's exciting because of that. It can be painful because we can no longer numb. We can no longer ignore. We have to be open and receptive from our heart space to accept all of it, the good and the bad. We have to be open to it all because we understand that none of it is us. None of the good and none of the bad is you. It's just an experience that you're having. You are a soul and you created the template for the avatar in which you wished to experience in this lifetime. You designed your personality, you designed your likes and your dislikes, you designed your reality because this is the reality that you wanted to experience, either to heal old karma, old trauma, old lifetimes, but also to step into your dharma and to just be, to experience what it is like to see the world through this version, this human's lens, right? So it's exciting and painful at the same time. And if you are stepping into the new, if you are going through this massive rebirth, it means that you have just went through an awakening, which an awakening is when we wake up to all of the patterns, all of the programming, all of the lies, all of the ways that are no longer serving us. For example, back in 2020, I went through a massive spiritual awakening. Massive. It was a really big spiritual awakening that I went through. And I felt like I could see through a lot of stuff that I wasn't able to see through. And I could see the life that I craved, the life that I wanted for myself. And I awoke to this new feeling that came through my heart. And I knew that I just wanted more of that feeling. How do I get more of that feeling that is coming from my heart, that came from my heart during whatever experience? I was a cart girl at the time. And so I spent the whole summer just driving around a golf course and listening to Dolores Cannon audiobooks in my headphones. And so I was just driving around the golf course, like looking at the trees and looking around at everything, like, oh my God, like it felt like I had awoken to a whole new world. Like I was like, where the hell has this world been? Where have I been living? Right? So that's the awakening, is like, wow, this is incredible. This is amazing. This is beautiful. But not only are you waking up to love and waking up to a whole new world, you're waking up to the ways in which you are being in the world that do not align to this new world, right? Because when you first awaken, you're not in this new world completely yet. You've just awoken to the fact that it exists, and then you still exist over here in your old life. So you're kind of like, oh my God, how do I get into that life that I can feel in my heart? How do I get there? And so an awakening, you start to see all of the patterns, all of the programming, all of the limiting beliefs, all of the thoughts, all of the people in your life, all of the habits, everything that's holding you back from that beautiful, expansive life that you can feel in your heart. You can wake up to everything that's holding you back from that. And so an awakening is something that happens for you, whereas a rebirth is something that you have to choose. You have to choose to be reborn into this new life, right? You can stay over here in your old life and be awakened to the fact that this world over here exists, and you're just going to live in pain because you're existing in the old while being aware of how beautiful the new is. But the path from one world to the next can be painful, can be challenging. And that's why oftentimes when you're walking that path to the new world, you find yourself running back to old habits, running back to old ways of being, running back to old limiting beliefs, because it feels safe, it feels comfortable. This is the world that you've lived in. And this world, you can only feel it. You can't see it yet. You can't taste it yet. You can't fully experience it yet. So you can end up gaslighting yourself and convincing yourself that it's safer back here because the road seems dark and scary and long. And you're like, actually, am I supposed to be walking down this path? Because it doesn't feel good. This path doesn't actually feel good. So should I be doing this? Does that world that I felt in my heart a couple months ago even really exist? So then you start gaslighting yourself into believing that this world that you felt this world. That's what an awakening is that you tune into the feeling and you feel that this world exists. And you start to gaslight yourself that you were making it up, that it wasn't actually true, that all of the pattern and programming and anxiety starts coming back up to try and entice you to come back to the old world. That's where your ego feels safe. That's where your ego feels comfortable. That's where your ego is thriving. The ego is in charge of you in the old world. When you take that walk of faith down the long, scary, dark road to get to the new world, the ego doesn't like that because it feels like it's losing control. You can't logically think your way into the new world. And the ego loves to logically think itself into situations because it loves to control. And in this old world, you can control it. You can control it. Right? And that's enticing to the ego because the ego is afraid of what happens when it loses control. Well, what happens when you walk the path to the new world and the ego loses control is that it's not in charge anymore. Layers and layers and layers of it has been shed off of you and has died. And there's just like a smaller, quieter version of the ego in the background. And you can hear the ego. You can still hear your ego talking. You can still hear it saying, oh, don't do that. You're not worthy of that. That's not true. You didn't actually feel that. You really think that you're going to make it over there? You really think you're strong? You still hear the ego, but now it's smaller and quieter and it's in the background, and you can just observe it and listen to it and be like, okay, whatever, I'm not falling for your tricks anymore. Like, I'm already here. I already made it. I can't fall for your tricks anymore. I walked the long, scary, dark path and now I'm here. And that's what a rebirth is that one final step. An awakening, you start walking the path. You're walking your way towards, and you're kind of halfway through, so you're still attached to the old world, but you can feel the new world. You just haven't seen it yet. A rebirth is like that final step onto the new. But that's the choice. It is a choice to be fully in the new. A rebirth, you have to choose to leave people behind. You have to detach your worth from them, and whether or not you're able to convince them to come with you into this new world, you have to let them go. They will find their way in divine timing. And when you can't trust that, when you can't trust that they are on their own journey, they're doing exactly what they need to be doing right now for their soul's evolution. And if you can't trust that, then that means that you don't have faith in what's guiding you. And if you don't have faith in what's guiding you, that means you're not going to take that final step. So you have to release the people who aren't ready yet. You have to use your voice to stop people pleasing. You have to learn how to say no when you want to say no. Right? We have to learn to set boundaries when they are needed. We have to learn how to fully embody exactly who and what we came here to be. Because we came here to be a bright light, walking the path home. We're here to lead by example. We are here to lead by example, right? So that was a long tangent, sorry. After my awakening in 2020, and I was the cart girl, and I was like, oh my God, this is so incredible. I started to realize, like, wow, I drink way too much. My physical body is not very healthy, right? I'm not friends with people that make me feel good. I'm friends with people that make me feel small, that make me feel trapped inside of my own body, like I can't fully come out and be myself and it's not their fault. I'm the one who showed up as the littler version of myself. And so then I felt like I needed to stay that littler version of myself in order for them to accept me. But being that littler version of myself was more painful than just stepping out into my fullness and letting people fall away. So I realized I didn't even want to work at a restaurant anymore. I'm like, I can't work at restaurants. I cannot do it. Like, it was physically draining me. I couldn't do it. It was out of alignment with my purpose, and I knew that it was, right? But I didn't force my way out. I stayed at the restaurant and began to make different choices in my life. I stopped drinking. I started eating a more aligned way to myself at that time. I went full vegan like overnight, and I don't recommend that. I think it was something I needed to go through to learn balance, to learn that it doesn't have to be all or nothing. So I'm not full vegan anymore, but I did for like a year. I was strictly vegan. For like 3 or 4 months in the middle, I was like raw vegan, which was even harder. But anyways, that's besides the point. And I rebirthed myself into a personal trainer because I got really into fitness, and I was like, yeah, fitness, this is my calling. This is what I need to be doing. And so I took small steps every single day that slowly aligned me to the new path, to the new world that I could feel. I could feel the freedom that came with being a personal trainer. I could feel the joy that came from being in my body and teaching others how to be in their bodies. I could feel what this life was going to offer me, and then I felt stuck in my old life. But I had to start making internal changes. I had to watch where my thoughts were telling me I would never make it as a personal trainer. I'm not good enough. My body doesn't look good enough. All of these limiting beliefs and fears started to come up, and I had to choose to disregard them as a way of the past and leave them behind and step in fully to this new version of myself that I was creating. I'm a personal trainer now. I got my certificate. I got a second job. I was working as the cart girl, but then I also got a second job working in the office at the gym. So I was still working at restaurants because the gym job wasn't going to pay my bills. So I needed to be doing both in order to pay my bills. Take care of your 3D reality as you go through this, right? So I was doing both for a while. And then I got my personal training certificate. And then I started training people. At first, I was training like 2 or 3 people for the first like 2 or 3 months, and still as the cart girl. I was a cart girl. I worked in the gym office and I was training people. But I was determined. I was like, no, I am a personal trainer now. I don't care if I have to go through this overworking for 6 months, which that might not resonate with everybody, and that's okay. This is what resonated with me at the time. I was like, I don't care if I have to work 3 months straight. And I didn't have a day off for 3 months until eventually I had enough clients that I could quit the restaurant job and go full time as a personal trainer. And that was incredibly exciting. That was incredibly exciting. And so that was my rebirth, was the choices. I had to make the choice to change my life. I was awakened to the fact that there was a whole nother world that I had over here, but I had to make the choice to walk the path and then take that final step into the new world. And I'm going through that same thing at this moment. At this moment, I'm currently working as a personal trainer, and I'm making all of these YouTube videos, and I'm making TikToks, and I'm working more on my spiritual health, meditating more, getting in alignment with my energy. I'm focusing more on my spiritual health and well-being than I am on my physical. Not that I don't work out. I just don't work out as much as I did when my identity was as a personal trainer. Because now it's been 3 or 4 years since I started as a personal trainer. I feel a whole new world. I can feel it in my heart. I can feel it calling me. And I can feel that being a personal trainer is just not aligning anymore. That doesn't mean it's bad. I still love it. I still have clients. I still have like 6 or 7 clients, and I still love it. I love training them. I don't feel like I'm working when I'm doing it. I feel like I'm enjoying my life, but there's this deeper calling inside of me, and it's this new higher version of me, this new higher elevated world calling me. And so now I'm going through the process again. I'm over here in the old reality as a personal trainer. I work out 4 to 5 times a week. I eat this many grams of protein. I eat this many calories. I get my steps in. That's the old world. My physical appearance matters. My physical appearance is what makes me money. My physical appearance is what makes clients want to train with me. So it is the utmost important thing to me in this old reality. But in this new reality, I just want to be healthy. I don't want to stress about what my physical body is looking like. I don't want to stress about getting enough protein. I don't want to stress. Now what I used to love and enjoy is now becoming stressful. It's weighing me down. And that's how I know that this is no longer the highest version of me, and that there's a new world trying to be birthed through my heart, calling to me, saying, hey, there's like a even higher way of life calling to you. Your body doesn't have to be the pinnacle of what matters in your business. You can actually have even more free time. You can actually even travel as often and as much as you want if it's aligned to the moment. You'll have even more freedom in this world. And I can feel it calling me. So that's what I've been doing, is I'm slowly taking the steps down the dark, scary path to this higher world. And I have no clue what it's going to look like when I get there. I have no clue. But I'm trusting, because I trusted myself that first leap. And so I've done it already. And I know that it works. And I know all I have to do is close my eyes and follow my heart and trust myself. And so that's what I'm doing, is I'm taking the long, scary walk to this new world, this new reality. And I'm slowly altering the the way I perceive the world. My habits are different. I'm aligning my habits to this new world frequency. The habits that I had down here as a personal trainer are no longer aligning to me. They feel heavy. They feel stressful. They feel icky. So I'm no longer aligning myself to this reality. I'm no longer acting as if I want to be a personal trainer. I'm now acting as if there's a new, higher, freer timeline available to me. And as I begin to align my actions and my thoughts and my beliefs and take the steps, make the choices, slowly, this world is going to begin to dissolve. And this world is going to solidify until this is my new reality. Okay, so if you're going through a rebirth right now and it feels like you are blind, it feels like you are anxious if it's even going to work out, you're having a lot of doubt, you're having a lot of limiting beliefs, you're having a lot of pain come up, sit with it, be with it. It is the old version of you dying. It is the version of you that existed for the old world to exist, dying. That version of you is dying with that old world that you no longer resonates with you, and you have to let it die. You have to feel the pain. You have to look at the thoughts and choose to release them in order for you to create space for the new world to be born, okay? Just come back to your heart. Come back to your breath. What feels like the most aligned, most freeing, most expansive step for you to take next in this moment? Not tomorrow, not next week, not how are you going to create this world in 6 weeks from now? How is it going to appear? Not any of right now. What is the next step for you to take in order for you to solidify your walk on the path to the new world, to slowly begin to dissolve the old and solidify the new? It's slow, but then you're going to get there and it's going to be like, oh, that was fast. Okay, time doesn't exist. So just be right here, right now. What feels the most fun? What feels the most free? What feels the most expansive? What feels the most pleasurable for you to do next? And do it. Follow your guidance. Your heart knows where it is taking you, okay? I love you. You got this.